Welcome to Molecule.
Hello friends, today I'll be talking about amino acids and its role in the protein structure. This topic is important for CSIR NET, DBT-JRF and GATE. So, as we all know that the amino acids are the building block of the protein. There are 22 amino acids that are majorly involved in protein synthesis. These amino acids can combine in various ways to pave way for different functions of a protein. As discussed further, we will observe how amino acids with different side chains can influence the trait of a polypeptide. The amino acids combine with each other to form polypeptides by removal of water and are joined by an amide bond. Some polypeptides that have been synthesized can provide strength like fibrous proteins, while others can be to carry out the necessary metabolic activities in the form of enzymes and hormones. The diversity is basically due to the R groups or the side chains in the amino acids that are capable of performing specific duties. The classification of amino acids on the basis of their side chains or R groups can be classified into 5 groups. The first one is the hydrophobic nonpolar amino acids, which contains valine, isoleucine, leucine, proline, glycine, alanine and methionine. The second class is the aromatic amino acids, which only contain 3 amino acids, which are phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan. The third class is the polar uncharged amino acids, means they are polar in nature but they are uncharged. There are 5 amino acids in this class: glutamine, asparagine, cysteine, threonine and serine. The fourth class is the negatively charged amino acids, which includes histidine, arginine and lysine. And the last class is the positively charged amino acids, which contains aspartic acid and glutamic acid. When you have too much to learn, you should adopt for some tricks or some phrase. So when you have too much to learn, I would advise to make some phrase or some trick to learn your concepts. To give you an idea, I will give an example of how did I learn the various amino acids. Normally gal is called as a girl. So the shortcut for all the amino acids is VIP gal, Madhuri. For your wedding, क्यों नहीं चाहती तुम सबको, Hrithik, Ranbir and KK, eager and desperate. In the same way, you can also learn your concepts by making some trick or any other way that you can learn. But because when you have too much to learn, you should make some tricks. There are still some questions that are not answered. So the questions can be: what types of bonds are involved in the primary structure of a protein, and what are covalent interactions and non-covalent interactions in the protein structure? So to begin with, covalent interactions are required in the formation of primary structure of proteins so that they don't break easily, and requires up to 250 to approximately 400 kilojoules per mole to be broken, so that the primary structure of the protein remains stabilized. These interactions involve formation of peptide bond and disulfide bridges also. The non-covalent interactions involve the forces that are usually observed in the stabilization of secondary, tertiary and quaternary structures of the protein. These include majorly hydrogen bonding interactions, which is found majorly in the secondary structures, ionic interactions and hydrophobic interactions in the tertiary structures, and again in the quaternary structures also. The disulfide bridges are required in the secondary structure in some cases to provide strength, or it is found mainly in the fibrous proteins. Again, there may be a question that what is the difference between covalent bonds and hydrogen bonds, and why are positively charged amino acids involved in the targeting of the nucleus. So again, covalent bonds are stronger and formed when two electronegative atoms combine by the sharing of electrons, and it is difficult to break, whereas hydrogen bonds are formed when a hydrogen atom is attracted to an electronegative atom, forming a weak dipole between the electronegative atom and the hydrogen atom, with a partial positive charge being developed on the hydrogen atom and a partial negative charge being developed on the electronegative atom. Also, the former means the covalent bond is found in the primary structure of proteins, and the latter stabilizes the secondary and tertiary structures of the protein. Now, the second question is that why is the positively charged amino acids found in the sequences that are targeted towards the nucleus? We all know that nucleus is negatively charged, and it is the tendency of the positively charged amino acids to get attracted to the nucleus. This is the reason of peptides that are targeted to the nucleus are positively charged. We will carry our discussion forward and discuss the nature of R groups of amino acids. These concepts are required to be learned. There are two sulfur-containing amino acids, which are cysteine and methionine. But the thing that is to be noted is that only cysteine is involved in the formation of disulfide bridges and not methionine. The oxygen-containing or the OH-containing amino acids are three, which are serine, threonine, and tyrosine. You may have heard of serine threonine kinase and tyrosine kinases. So these amino acids are involved in the phosphorylation and O-glycosylation of the proteins. The amide is CO and H2 bonds. Containing amino acids are asparagine and glutamine. Asparagine is involved in N-glycosylation of the proteins. Aromatic acids like tyrosine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan, which are classified as aromatic acids, are involved in fluorescence. The indole ring, which is majorly responsible for the fluorescence, is found in the tryptophan. Proline has a cyclic pyrrolidine, or also called as imino ring, and has the capability to show cis and trans conformation. That means that they can be found in cis and trans conformation both. And this is a specialty of proline, which helps in sharp beta turns also. Arginine has gonidium ring, and histidine contains imidazolium ring. These questions are basically asked in some competitive examinations like DBT and CSIR-NET. The next slide shows you the ketogenic and glucogenic amino acids, and in the center, the tryptophan, threonine, phenylalanine, tyrosine, and isoleucine are ketogenic and glucogenic both. That glucogenic means those amino acids which can be converted into glucose, and ketogenic are those amino acids which can be converted into ketone bodies. So there is an amalgamation of ketogenic and glycogenic in the center. You can see that tryptophan, threonine, phenylalanine, tyrosine, and isoleucine are ketogenic as well as glucogenic in nature. In the next slide, you can see that these are the basic structures of amino acids. You can go through it, and you can see that there are 20 amino acids in which there are different structures. So you can go through it. For your references, I have given that. Now coming back to the CSIR-NET GRF questions. If you want to solve your question and you want to see that whether you have learned something or not, you can mute my voice for some time and go through these questions so that you can attempt them, and the answers, I've given the answers at the back so that you can cross-check your questions also, your answers also. So let's begin with the question that have been asked in the CSIR-NET, DBT, GRF, and GATE as well. So the first question is, which of the following peptides can coexist in both cis and trans conformation? As discussed earlier, I have told you that proline can exist in both cis and trans conformation. So the correct option will be D, that is the valine coupled with proline and the amide bond, CO and H2 bond. This has been asked in CSIR-NET June 2018. Now the second question that I have showed in the slide is that which of the following pair of amino acids are glucogenic and ketogenic in nature? So you can see that isoleucine and phenylalanine will be the right answer because that has been shown in the slide. Which one of the following would contribute to intrinsic fluorescence of a protein? This is unarguably the A option, aromatic amino acid, because I have already discussed that in my discussion. Now coming back to DBT, BT questions, they are asking a bacterial culture grown in a medium containing radioactive sulfur would incorporate the radio label in the tetrapeptide. So now they are talking about radioactive sulfur, and we know that cysteine bonds or cysteine amino acids can form disulfide bridges. So the A option is the correct option. The second question is asking the amino acid that can act both as an acid and a base in an enzyme catalyzed reaction will be. The correct answer is histidine, because it has a pKa and a pi that is near to the physiological pH of our body. Protein kinases phosphorylate proteins at the hydroxyl groups on the amino acid side chains. Again, I have already discussed the amino acids that contain the hydroxyl groups, or those which are oxygen containing. So the correct answer will be the B option. The fourth one is the following. They have shown a structure and they are asking the following amino acid is which of the following amino acid. I will say that it is proline, which has an amino group which can be seen in the question. Now they are asking a GFP construct. In the fifth question, they are asking a GFP construct is modified such that the resultant GFP protein will have a conjugated peptide proline, lysine, arginine, lysine and valine. Now you can see that proline and valine are only hydrophobic in nature, otherwise the whole peptide is positively charged. Lysine is a positively charged amino acid and arginine is also a positively charged amino acids, and we know that positively charged amino acids will be targeted towards the nucleus. So they are asking that the modified GFP protein will be localized in which of the following organelles: lysosome, Golgi bodies, nucleus and ER. So the correct answer is nucleus. Which one of the following signatures the stretch of an amino acid in the protein will target it to the nucleus? Again, it is the same question. Those the stretch which have the positively charged amino acids will be targeted to the nucleus, and it can be seen that the only B option has all the amino acids which are positively charged: arginine, lysine, arginine and lysine. So the correct option is B. Seventh, which one of the following side chains of an amino acid is responsible for fluorescence in proteins? So the correct answer is indole ring. Now coming back to gate questions, they are asking which one of the following amino acids is responsible for the intrinsic fluorescence of a protein. Again, tryptophan is the only aromatic acid, so D is the correct option. Which one of the following amino acids has 3 ionizable groups? Now if you see the options very carefully, glycine, leucine and valine all are hydrophobic in nature. The only option that has been left is lysine, which has 3 ionizable groups. Which one of the following amino acid substitutions is likely to cause the largest change in protein conformation? Phenylalanine to isoleucine. That means that it is being changed from aromatic amino acid to the hydrophobic amino acid. Serine to threonine, again means the threonine is being replaced by serine, and both are classified as uncharged polar amino acids, so they cannot make a change. They are asking the largest change. So phenylalanine and isoleucine will make some change. Glutamic acid to tyrosine. Now glutamic acid is negatively charged and tyrosine is having an OH group, so that can substitute that can compensate the loss of the protein conformation, but partly it will affect the protein conformation. Now the fourth option is glutamic acid to valine. Now glutamic acid is negatively charged amino acid and valine is a hydrophobic amino acid. So now what is happening is that hydrophilic is being changed into hydrophobic, so that will cause the largest change in the protein conformation in this case. I am not saying that other conformations will not, only the B option will not cause any change, otherwise every other option will cause some change in the protein conformation. Amino acids involved in the protein DNA interactions are, again, you know that, positively charged. And this is your answers. Thank you for watching the video. Before saying goodbye to my viewers, I as an educator would like to request my viewers to please give their valuable feedbacks, as criticism or appreciation both will help in improving my teaching capabilities. I can make mistakes, because to make mistakes is human. So if my viewers think that I have made a mistake or need to improve at something, please don't be reluctant and write that in the comment section. Your suggestions, appreciation or criticism all will be cherished and taken seriously to give a better learning experience. Goodbye till the next video.
Please like, share and subscribe.